Welcome to the Hard Man Podcast, reclaiming biblical masculinity in a world of softness.
Fuck you, die slow, Ericon.
I hate this man so much.
Yeah, he's a bad person. All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Trash Cats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven.
And every day as time moves on, I find it to be truer and truer that God is both a coward and a bastard man.
But definitely a bastard man. And most certainly a coward.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's trying to thwart me little by little because he fears me.
Did you trounce him?
I continuously do so every day.
You left him boondoggled.
And maybe that's narcissistic of me to believe.
Perhaps.
But truly, if he's all powerful, he can kill me. He can smite me. So either he's a coward and too afraid to do something, or he just doesn't care. And either way, he doesn't deserve my praise.
Certainly. Now, before we get too far, let me ask you: Did you take your Viagra?
You know what? I didn't. Let me get that in there here real quick.
Because we're doing a hard men episode today.
I got my nose clams. I got my dick
I
clams.
snorted 2 Viagra right before we got on.
Oh, I was gonna boof it.
So today we're doing Hard Men episode number 5. Men are made for dominion.
The voting system?
Not quite. People tend to think it's like dominion is domination, but it's slightly different. So in this episode, Pastor Eric Kahn is going to tell us that real men are meant to be warriors and workers, dominating the world for God and their own glory. While doing this, Eric is going to make many mistakes, the largest of which he's going to accidentally argue that real men should be rapists.
Oh, good.
Now, I think Eric Kahn's too much of a coward to live with his own delusional principles. But when a man tells you what he wants to be, I say we believe him.
I 100% agree with that.
It is very fun. I mean, a lot of the alpha, like Red Pill, Christian Dominion, all these guys, many of their arguments are really just that men should be rapists, and they don't realize that's what they're arguing for. And I find that incredibly funny. And we're going to watch Pastor Eric Kahn make many of those mistakes today.
You know, is it a mistake if it's intentional?
I think
If it's subconsciously intentional, is it still a mistake?
I don't think they fully understand what they're arguing, because
That's fair.
Honestly, the argument that men should be rapists is kind of like the steel man of their own argument. It's not what they intend, but it's what all of their arguments lead to. And I don't think they have a, contrapositive to it, where if you push their arguments to the farthest extent, it essentially is what they believe, but they don't know that's what they're arguing for.
It's pretty cool and well thought out.
Yeah, very, very fun, guys. But
Yeah.
first, before we get to the fun stuff, how was your week?
Oh boy, I'm looking forward to listening to this episode because I think it's going to be a dip into the enemy lines a little bit, as God has tried to thwart me this week multiple times, and this month truly.
You're coming in a little squirrely. You have
I'm
rascal
feeling
energy right now.
Yeah, I truly, it's like I said off recording. I'm on some narcissist shit of I don't believe in God, but I do believe that if he does exist, he's malevolent and hateful, and that is not deserving of my praise. And if that's true, then he spites me for it.
That's one of my favorite arguments, is the malevolent God. It's so fun.
Yeah. I mean, look at the things that he does. That being said, my just today alone by itself, I had to pick up an extra shift where I was supposed to be. I was planning on having a half day today so I could get some rest, and haven't had a real full day off in over a month. And I was trying to get a half day so I could at least come home, like get a couple chores done, do some laundry, finish that up. But that would not be the case. On my way into work today, the check engine light and my all-wheel drive went out in my car. So that's rad.
That's
fucking super cool.
It's my favorite light, because if you just accept that it's always going to be on, you never have to even think about it. That's just
I'm not willing to accept that yet, mostly because I have to drive to Cincinnati on Monday, and it's not just my life in my hands anymore. I'm going to be picking up my niece, and that's going to be...
come on. That light can run forever. Just consider it a new friend. Think of it as like a lightning bug that's stuck inside your car.
It's and it's just saying... a little extra festive light inside of my...
It's just saying, hey, I'm riding with you, bud.
Some people pay extra for... Some people pay extra for the LEDs inside the car. You know, this one just comes with the package.
It becomes a joy to see that check engine light still shining bright every day.
That's my road dog. Then I dealt with that. I got to work, and the car still runs. It's whatever. But as I'm like walking up to this catering event, I get a text from my mom about our washing machine is not working. And so we're trying to like figure out the warranty info and if we can get it fixed, and how much that's going to cost and when they can get it fixed. And
didn't you put that in like a year ago?
Yeah, it's definitely still under warranty.
Damn.
Yeah. So there's that. It's mostly been little things, and that's how he tries to cover his tracks. It's not like one big thing. It would look suspicious, if it was large inconveniences.
Have you considered maybe you just haven't been hard enough this month?
Stephen, I hadn't considered it, but now that you mention it, I think I truly, as we listen to this episode, I really need to take that to heart. Men
are meant to be workers and warriors. You should take... Work will set you free.
And that's maybe that's my issue, is I haven't done enough work.
I remember that specific phrase on the gates of some building, but I can't quite remember what it was.
Yeah. Maybe I need to maybe I need to consider that. Yeah. How's your week been?
It's fine. Here's something I've considered. I actually, there's things I could say, and I feel slightly conflicted, because when we do Hardman episodes, there's part of me that has an expectation that at some point these could be heard by hard men such as Eric, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Where two soft boys such as ourselves arguing against such hard men. I feel like it would be easy. We could make ourselves more of a target than we need to by saying certain things. But I also don't feel that to be a reason I would deny my own truth, right? If I say oh, my week sucks, I'm not doing well, to the hard Dominion Christian, whatever, it's oh, you're offering the evidence, you're on a silver platter, oh, you're doing a podcast, look how messy your mind is, obviously you're stone godless heart, right? And I truly despise that aspect of it.
But I feel like if that's the truth, and that's how your week's been.
Exactly.
And you withhold that information because you're afraid of them listening, them hearing that, then they win.
And in the past,
that just cannot be allowed.
Yeah, and in the past, that's why I've never really been one to reserve myself too much. But I do find it slightly annoying. But I don't know. I've had this thought lately. I'm not sure I like who I'm becoming. But I
a little 9 to 5er?
Not that aspect, which may be like a factor. You know, in the past, how I made the argument: alien, solid core, alien world, world to world. I'm always gonna find myself. Like, I know who and what I am, despite the situations that can change me. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Part
of that is I don't think I really like part of who I am, but it feels slightly unavoidable.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, I don't want to be so detached or angry is not the right word, because I enjoy anger, but and detached is only part of it, but I don't feel the genuine connections in general very much. Mm-hmm. And I used to a lot, and I don't like that. And I think some of that is, like, honestly, something most people go through.
Yeah, I think that's just part of getting older.
It feels very similar to, like, a loss of innocence, and I don't like that. I miss when things felt new, and I felt like there were higher stakes in general, in part due to how I was living. But also, I'm losing the wonder. Okay, the magic is dying. Okay, I've been demented, cursed, and I don't know. I feel mixed, and I'm trying to figure out how to think through this thing. It's not going great.
I'm sorry to hear that, but maybe we'll gain some insight from the hard man himself.
Honestly, part of what I find so fascinating is I feel like my life philosophy is much closer to the core elements of Christian dominion than it is for the Christians, right? Like, part of dominion is to conquer conquering self, conquering the world for your own glory, for God, to conquer every beast and every man for God's glory, right? That's kind of like and to me, that's like completely antithetical to what I think of as true Christianity.
Right.
While I think most Christians are hypocrites, that in my mind, Christianity should be the opposite of that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they steal parts of my worldview and pervert it for their God's name. And I find that incredibly frustrating, because I feel like we are like me and Eric, right? We're dialed in, but he's like using all the wrong, bizarro reversed words to describe the wrong things.
Yeah, that's I can imagine that's shitty. It's like your main antagonist is copycatting from you the protagonist. They're trying to do what you do and claiming that they're in the right, and also they're different. And you're saying, like, no, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it badly.
Like, when he describes many of the things he believes, it's almost an unempathetic Satanism or a cruel hedonism type worldview, but it's all like framed that it's for their imaginary sky daddy, but it's truly all for themselves and the sake of their beard.
For the sake of my beard.
For the sake of the beard. That said, should we get into it? We're on episode number 5.
Oh, boy. Man, we're going to have to do some catching up if we're going to get to this Girl Boss Gatekeep episode he made.
And the Yoga Pants episode. There's some fun stuff coming up.
I think I might listen to that one on my off time.
That's just for funs.
Just for funsies.
Episode number 5. Men are made for dominion.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Hardman Podcast.
Bro,
Reclaiming
music.
biblical masculinity in a
Feel
world
that Viagra
of
kicking in
softness.
already.
One of the main reasons that men stay away from church today is that church no longer teaches a doctrine of dominion.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, men have no grand sense of mission or purpose.
True.
And instead, Christianity is reduced to a Hallmark-style romance between you and Jesus.
Weird.
Something that most masculine men find utterly unappealing and unattractive. That's why they're flocking in droves away from the church, and the church is comprised mostly of women and effeminate men.
Classic con right there.
Yeah.
Many of these men, disillusioned with the
What a
church,
callback.
turn to the intellectual dark web, or any number of personalities from Jordan Peterson to Rollo Tomasi and Jack Donovan.
What a typically Eric intro.
Yeah,
That-
he's playing the hits at this point.
I just want to take a moment to appreciate that. We're already into sissy church members.
Mm-hmm.
It's too many women. What a manly thing to say. There's
Yeah,
too
too
many
many.
women. Fucking dumbass.
You know how when you walk in a place and you're like, oh man, all these women here.
So many stupid women. And then we got fucking Jordy Pepperson, Romo Tomisi, all these classic red pill characters.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this man so much.
Yeah, he's a bad person.
Or they turn to the manosphere, the red pill movement.
Hell yeah.
And while these internet gurus offer helpful advice and even practical skills for strengthening one's body on issues like building wealth,
Mm-hmm.
advancing your career, or being more aggressive among your peers,
This all sounds good. Be aggressive.
they help you to improve your relationship with women.
Oh.
They do all these things well, but they often fail to give men a clear sense of mission. The result is that men become chiseled. They become successful in their career. They become better with women. Many become womanizers.
Now, what do you think about his point that many men typically, often young men, don't have mission and purpose?
I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like younger people are more driven with purpose. They have a sense of purpose, whether it's
You're booming.
achievable or not.
You're booming.
I'm booming.
This is the whole thing of like why the manosphere, men's right advocates, why Jordy Peterson, Eric Kahn, why all these losers exist is and I hate it. I hate this shit so much. But their whole thing is like young men are lost. They play too many video games. They're not having sex. They're not going to college like all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they don't have purpose. And that's why these like new men guru dudes are so big right now. Like that's why we have
I feel
Andrew
like
Tate.
I feel like you have your Jordy Petersons because they got to a certain point in their life and they realized they didn't have any other purpose than to hate on other people
No.
and to try to pick apart how other people.
No. Jordy Peterson, for as much of a douche as he is, very successful early psychology career. And
Mhm.
he was able to go mainstream through being kind of bigoted. And then his brain broke due to drugs and like family ruin. Like family shit happened. He got addicted to drugs, got famous, lost his fucking mind.
Cool.
Like, but a lot of these dudes, it is a to make money and like get clout.
Mhm.
But just like our arguments over like, do we blame the politicians or the voter? Like the only reason these dudes exist at all, the only reason Eric Kahn is able to like do this podcast is because there's enough young men who legitimately are lost.
I guess I'm biased by what I see, I guess. I work with a lot of young people. I see a lot of young people on a regular basis through my line of work. I don't feel that that's the case. I feel more that the younger people that I'm meeting and working with have more goals and aspirations, and
you're seeing them at work. Like we're looking at stats, right? Like the male graduation rate, the male like house. I hate men's right shit. I get frustrated because I feel like these men guru losers. There are valid things they could be talking about, and there are elements of like right now a lot of young men feel lost, and whether anyone cares or not, it still is a problem, because like these angry men are the same ones that are like stereotypically and often truly the ones that hurt other people, right?
mm-hmm.
And there is like a little bit of an imbalance going on right now, and unfortunately these losers just offer all the wrong answers.
So do you think part of it is it may not be the reason that they are lost, but I don't think that it's helping that they have people telling them they have to be hard men.
No, that's what I feel incredibly sympathetic to the actual problem and the actual like young people affected, and incredibly angry with these people that leading them astray.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I'm congruent with my argument about voters, these people, these men in the audience that support people like Eric Kahn are equally deserving of the blame.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these guys fucking suck.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But ultimately, they just become more skilled at navel gazing, right? The self-obsession, the selfie mode of our generation.
It's a good term.
Many of these men have mastered their driving skills, to use a metaphor, but they still don't know what their destination is.
Like, I think that's true for a lot of people. Not just men, but in general.
What's the grand sweep? What's the mission and the aim of your life, the telos? Well, in this episode, we're going to explore the biblical doctrine of dominion.
Oh, maybe that's our
answer.
answer.
Grounds a man in his God-ordained mission and answers the fundamental question, what is a man for?
Ooh.
Okay, real men, real quote-unquote men, make things and fight for peace. Not any of this bullshit Eric's about to say.
I want to begin today by taking a look at the book of Genesis, which is a book of origins. Now, by exploring the beginning of all things and why things were made, the book reveals also the purpose of all things.
Oh, good.
Including the purpose of man. This is where we're going to answer the question, what is man for?
Thank God.
Well, man is told plainly in Genesis 1:28, be fruitful and multiply.
Men are for fucking.
Yeah.
Based. Nice one.
If you're not sowing seed, you're not a man.
And fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. So right from the opening pages of Scripture, man's mission is actually spelled out for us.
Thank you, Father.
Now, as we look at this passage, I want you to notice two things about man's core purpose in verse 28. Number one, man was made to be fruitful. Man was made to enjoy the pleasure of sex with his wife.
Nice.
Based.
But he was also in the same relationship made to procreate. He was made to have children and to fill the earth with these children. Men were made for
fucking burying children's corpses. Good advice.
Men were made for families and children. Right? This is part of your core identity. And it's a way of building a culture-shaping and world-taking army. This is one way to answer the question, what are men for? They're for fruitfulness.
That sure is one way to answer that question. Fuck a lot until you can raise your own child army to conquer the world. Wow, that is excellent. I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
It's just so stupid. And it's like the basis of like
Full Genghis Khan shit.
it's the basis of like most early Christianity stuff is you only want sex for procreation, right? That's the line.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to make as many little child slave warlords for your purpose as possible. And then you can spread God's will far and wide. And that's your whole goal in life.
It's paying it forward with your dick. you make 3 kids and then teach them about Jesus, and they make 3 kids and teach them about Jesus.
Rape my way through this world for God.
And number 2, Genesis 1:28 tells us, man was made to take dominion. This is what the army of God's covenant-keeping sons is made to do.
So stupid. Like, this is like, we have to spread. We use the line of our church to influence us to spread our people for the sake of power. Like, it feels like he's making an argument for war and for power solely for the sake of war and power.
Yeah.
Now here's the one of the questions I've had to consider since we've been covering these is like, part of the reason I think it's easy for lost people to gravitate towards losers like Eric Kahn is they're confident with answers, right? Like if you asked Eric as a confused person, like, well, what is being a real man? Like, he has an answer.
Yeah,
right?
He'll
Like,
come up with some shit.
So like to me, that begs the question of like, what is a real man? Because it's incredibly frustrating the answer on the opposite of him.
What is a real man?
Because there's so many like fundamental abstract problems with the question.
Well, Stephen, if you ask my friends on the right, they'll tell you just check down your pants and there you'll find what a real man is.
That to me is like half of what's wrong with it, because like anyone that clings to like their own genitals for an identity
Said the gooner.
Yeah. But they're like so confused. Like your gender, your sex, whatever, like is not who you are. Like if your identity is based off that, there's probably a fundamental issue immediately.
Yeah.
Like needing to know like, what is the real version of my gender?
I have to be true to my dick. I can't express myself the way I want to because I have to be true to what's in my pants.
Every morning I take a Viagra and I follow into the world wherever my dick points. That's
in the same way that you see people react to. I'm sure you've seen it too. Like when people react to nail polish, dudes wearing nail polish, and you're like, oh, that's gay or that's feminine, and you're like, if your masculinity is so fragile that it can be broken with nail polish,
so stupid.
How frail is how just hanging on a little twig is your masculinity. Like you're waiting for the excuse of people to say like, oh yeah, being gay is contagious and you can catch it, so you can say, oh, they got me, and like
yeah, it's.
I was a straight, strong, hard man, and they got me. They turned me.
Man was made to take dominion. This is what the army of God's covenant-keeping sons is made to do.
Weird.
Yeah.
This is what man is raising an army for, is for dominion. Now, the Hebrew word means to assault, to bring into subjection by force, or to subdue. That is to say that man was made to raise an army and take the world by force. He was to have lots of sex.
Okay, we're building the rape argument. Okay.
Yeah.
Enjoyable and pleasurable with his wife. And he was to make lots of children and bring the world under his rule. Now, as we also learn in Genesis 2:15, man's 2 primary roles by which he would take dominion were to work and to keep. In other words, man was made to be a warrior and a worker. He was made to take up the sword and the trowel and to conquer the world, both as a culture builder and as a leader of armies.
So this is where, like, I truly would enjoy hearing his answer to the question of, like, why shouldn't men rape as much as possible?
Mm-hmm.
Because his argument is dominion, means to assault, and we do it for God's glory. The goal is to have fruitful sex with as many. I think for him it might just be wife, but in theory, with a bunch of women, to have as many children as possible, so we can take over the world for God's glory, and that we should think of ourselves as warriors in that regard. So why shouldn't we rape as much as possible for God?
Right. And
I'd be very curious what his answer is.
Because you can make that argument for sure without getting into, as many people as possible, rape as many people as possible. And just, after the fifth or sixth child and your wife doesn't want to have anymore, and you're like, well, we're going to,
this is
because
God's will.
This is what I'm made for. This is God's will. Yeah.
Would you deny me the fruits of my own penis?
Would you?
I need my penis fruits for God. Would you deny me of that, woman?
Would you deny God of my dick?
I mean, I've heard other people that have similar thoughts answer a similar question. And I feel like his answer would be incredibly telling. Because let's play dummy advocate, okay? Be Eric for a second. What reason?
God. Okay.
Why would he not want us to rape as many women as possible for God? Because I feel like it's a hard thing to answer, assuming his philosophy.
I mean, I think the initial argument would be, of course, like, because sex is between a man and a wife. But if you were to broaden that to, but if this is what you're meant for, like, and your wife, would say, either doesn't want to or isn't willing to, like, produce children for you, or like medically cannot produce more children for you, then, like, the argument would be, isn't it your civic duty then to find a new wife? Banish the old wife and find a new one that can birth you more children.
It's a wife's duty to be submissive to the husband. How could you let your wife limit you from your duty to God?
Right.
Yeah. So I truly struggle with. I genuinely am curious to what his answer is for that, because he hasn't ever, in these first 5 episodes, addressed, for example, why should women have the equal rights as men? Mm-hmm. And his philosophy thus far has kind of dictated that they shouldn't. So why, as a man who wants to do God's will, and part of that will is to be a warrior and make as many children for God's army, what reason would he not be willing to advocate physical sexual harm towards a woman if it is for God's will? Like, I genuinely am curious to what his answer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll chisel out a little bit more of that at some point. But this is where, in my intro, I kind of like pointing out that whether it's Christian Dominion or Red Pill Losers, a lot of times these guys are essentially making that argument without realizing the extent of what they're arguing. And I don't think they have a consistent answer of, like, something that fits in their philosophy and would limit the harm of, like, what they're actually arguing for.
Yeah, it's I'd like to see where else this goes.
You see, building cultures and perfecting agricultural practices, developing technologies to enhance his work, things like inventing plows and tractors and complex irrigation systems.
Oh, hell yeah. Fucking the most manly irrigation system.
Establishing commerce and trade, and developing educational practices.
This has all already happened.
Yeah. We don't need to do this anymore.
Perfecting the arts, building cities, and perfecting the practice of politics. These are the things that a man was made to do. Now, if you think about it, it's a monumental task that would take generations and generations to fulfill. Now, when masculinity is brought under the banner of this dominion-taking work, it's exciting. It's totally absorbing, and it demands the best from men.
Hell yeah.
But I want you to contrast that with what we find as really a central message of the church today. It's this. Jesus loves you, and he wants to have a warm, romantic relationship with you that is basically eternal pillow talk after binge watching the Hallmark Channel with your girlfriend. The end. Period. That's it.
Dunzo.
Go have another devotional time with deep spiritual intercourse with God.
Yeah, fuck him in the ass.
Now, in the church today, men are simply an obstacle to a feminized world of emotions, sentimental piety, and really suffocating niceness. It's not actually anything that's new. As 19th century author Sarah Hale once wrote, and I'm quoting now, the point of the church was, quote, to bring about the true Christian civilization. And the way this was done, she says, is that men must become more like women and the women more like angels.
Fucking hot.
I want you to hear that one more time. The men must become more like women and the women more like angels. End quote. That's the underlying aim in many churches today. We need to make the men more domesticated and more like women. We need our men to be neutered and docile. We need them to binge watch Tiger King instead of raising up against the tyranny that's happening.
We did that. We did that together.
And as a result, what we get is men who are completely harmless.
I'll never financially recover from this.
They're neutered, they have no sense of aggression in a positive sense, and they're utterly harmless. And so the American church, under the influence of feminization, has taken on a flavor of mushy romance novels. Instead of what it once was, it used to be a theologically rich, doctrinally robust, Calvinistic, patriarchal boot camp.
Oh, bring Calvin back into this.
For an army of dominion-taking foot soldiers. Let me ask you, is that what you find in the church today? It is not. One Unitarian clergyman in 1858 said this, and I find it quite interesting.
Oh, thank God. We can't wait to hear what he has to say. Yeah.
He said, quote, the ancient world was emphatically masculine. The ancient world was emphatically masculine.
Nice.
Those are the Christian roots, and really that's the flavor of the world.
Flavor. The salt's not salty enough, but he's talking about the flavor.
Now, he went on to say something else. That under the new liberal feminist movement in the church, he said this, quote, Christianity had begun to proclaim the gospel of the ever feminine and showed the utter nothingness of masculine self-sufficiency. End quote. Right? The ancient world was utterly masculine.
Hey, do you know before women could vote, the world was more masculine? Hell yeah.
And a huge reason why is that men were raised on dominion theology. They were taught Genesis 1 and 2. This was part of the fabric of the church's teaching. And so men had a clear mission. No matter what your vocation, it was your job to raise a small army of Christ followers.
Bro, he sounds drunk. Misspeak.
Yeah, he does.
Misspeak.
Christ followers. And to go and subdue the whole planet.
Once again, this is recorded, bud. You can take a second take on this.
Give it another shot.
It encompassed every area of life, from business to politics, from religion and philosophy to science and technology. You see, it's this doctrine of dominion that fills a man's lungs with potent air.
Don't say that, you fucking pervert. So fucking weird. It just sounds so creepy.
And causes energy to surge through his nervous system. This is where he gets his fire and passion, is from this dominion mandate. Which
How many guitar solos
Genesis.
do you need?
That's when we use the cat meow, that he uses this.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, we've looked at Genesis, but I want to examine one other passage that highlights the nature of dominion in the New Covenant era.
Let's do it.
Tell us
I'm
about
not
that,
going to
Eric.
read the whole chapter, but I want to take a look at a few of the greatest hits from Jeremiah 31.
Oh, cool. Best of collection. What's happening?
And these show how a man's work as warrior and worker are played out. And it's found in the basic structure of the covenant promises.
Mm-hmm.
It encompasses more than simply a romantic relationship with Jesus. It's more than about you and Jesus in your quiet time. So here are a few of the highlights from Jeremiah 31. Number 1,
Mm-hmm.
God promises that again he will reward and cause man's work to be fruitful. That's verse 16. So that encompasses vocation. Number 2, men will plant vineyards and be fruitful in the land. That's in verse 5. So it encompasses both land and vocation. Number 3, God will rebuild the cities of the faithful, verse 4 and 38. So the discussion here is about cities, politics, and culture.
Bro, he makes me want to murder innocent.
Eric Kahn is doing more harm than good just by speaking.
Existing.
Number 4,
Yeah.
God promises a hopeful future for you and for your children, that you shall dwell in your own land, verse 17. So God's promise relates to inheritance and lineage. Number 5, God will put the law on the hearts of his people, verse 33. God promises regenerate hearts. Number 6, God will
Kind of
grant
glossed over
faithful
that
pastors
lineage
who
thing.
feeds God's people
Yeah.
once again, verse 14. And one of the promises of
Eric's
the
all
new
about that
covenant is for
monarchy.
faithful pulpits. Number 7,
I'd be
finally,
interested
God
to hear his
promises
thoughts
whole
on,
communities will be faithful
race
to
or
God, verse 34.
just wealth even.
Right? So it encompasses both communities and real physical places. Now, what do we learn from this?
Oh, you tell me.
Well, what we learn is that the new
Yeah.
covenant promises are about all of life. It's not just about you and your relationship with Jesus.
Jesus was a femboy.
For sure.
And Eric.
Honestly, I think me and Jesus would be pretty tight. I mean, I'm not into the death cult and all that, but you know,
That's the thing, is neither was he. Jesus was actually a pretty cool dude for the time.
he's washing people's. He had a feet thing, and he
Yeah.
was water into wine with it.
Right? Again, they're about economies, politics, land, agriculture, shepherds in the church, inheritance. They're about generational legacies. They're about our children. They're about total dominion over all of life and all the earth. The new covenant promises aren't about the amazingly tantric devotional times that you're expected to have with God, right? That's what we reduce everything to in the church today. That's not what the new covenant structure and promises are about. They're about a God who fills his people with the law and the Spirit.
He fills them with the law and the Spirit, so that they can fill women with their seed.
Yeah.
So that they can be warriors and workmen who conquer pagan empires and rebuild the city of God. Now, at the practical level, what does this mean?
Yeah, let's make it all make sense now. Would you?
Yeah,
Would
please.
you?
I've been waiting for this whole time.
What does this mean for the church and in particular for men today? How will the church be different if we recovered this sense of dominion theology? I'm going to lay out a few points. First, it means that we need to recover a grand vision of dominion if we want to attract men and energize the church to fulfill its global mandate.
When he speaks about Christian dominion in this way, I feel like he is nearly advocating for something very similar to Islam or Sharia law.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that true Christian dominion would be a violent conquering of the world. And we know he's advocated for Christian violence quite a bit.
Right.
Which I also find incredibly spineless in his episode about being a warrior and dominion for God. He's very tiptoey about what that violence looks like compared to his other episodes where he's fucking click-clacking his gun the whole time. But essentially, it's the duty. It is a duty in Islam to spread Islam
Right.
by any means necessary.
Yeah.
In traditional Islam. And I feel like his idea of Christianity is very similar, where through dominion, that power structure, in a political sense, is the church. Like when have a religion that is intended to dominate like that, it's not like he's advocating for Christian dominion with a side of democracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's through the power structure of the church where religion and politics are intertwined. And I really wish he was just so clear that he could just lay out the full vision of what that would look like. Because
I mean, he's not going into detail about it, but he is, because it's not about spread the word. It's spreading the law.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your duty to spread the law. God's giving you the resources.
Law. Yeah.
And this is your job.
So can you only imagine? It's like when race realists or eugenists, argue race realism, people that believe there's like fundamental differences of race, primarily IQ. Like a lot of white nationalists will make the argument like, oh, we don't hate black people, they're just fundamentally different. And we don't want violence, but we want equal but separate. We want separate states.
Mm-hmm.
We want, and on the other hand, there are like black power groups that argue the same thing. One in particular argues for genocide of white people. That's kind of popular right now, but they're pretty interesting because it's basically just like a white power group, but black. And their thing is they also believe in race realism, but that black people, the true Israelites, what they sometimes call themselves, want their own nation state, and that these groups could be completely separate. And to me, that is it's an interesting argument where I feel like at least it's fully transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Where what Eric is arguing for may be in practice even more vile and violent, but he's not laying out what it would look like.
Yeah, he's leaving it nice and cloudy. Exactly,
and that's the part I can respect the Nazis, or I can respect the hate groups that argue their point in clarity a lot more than I can argue, or than I can I don't know, appreciate whatever the fuck people who make arguments that entail violence without laying out exactly what it would look like.
Yeah, it's the difference of, their opinion sucks, but they say it with their chest, and they have, things that they believe to back up why they think that way, versus, and they'll describe it for you in detail, versus I'm just going to put out a word salad of biblical shit and let you draw your own conclusions on what to do with this.
It's like ideally every Nazi does have a swastika on their porch, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we want to know bad people's viewpoints, opposed to them being hidden.
So that
for our safety and so we can attempt to dissuade them or whatever. It's easier to combat things that you know what they are than people who lie about what they believe in.
Yeah, and I mean, and part of that also is so when the tide turns and they realize like their back's against the wall, they can say, "Oh no, that's not what I meant. That's not. I didn't feel like that. I never said that. I never had these opinions."
You see, men were hardwired for dominion. That's the mission. And without this clear mission, men's fighting aggression, their vocational prowess, their sexual potency.
Vocational prowess? They're meant to have jobs.
All of that gets wasted on stupid and trivial things. That's how we end up as a generation of navel gazers. We think masculinity means using my strength to beef up my body so I can take better selfies at the gym. That is not what masculinity is for. And the men who do this fail to understand their true God-given mission.
So stupid.
On the other hand, with a clear mission, men will fight for right doctrine. They will labor to build an anti-fragile household. They will build armies along with their wife, the woman that God has given them in their youth. You see, here's a fundamental principle. Men are like arrows. They're weapons, and they're dangerous.
And they're straight.
And the way that you get the best of men is that you aim them at the right target. You don't blunt the arrow. You don't cut it in half. You don't cut off the fletching.
You don't bedazzle
You
it.
sharpen them and you aim them at the right target. Men need a mission.
Nocturnal admission.
Now, how would the church be different if we actually taught this doctrine, which we don't? How would the church be different today? Well, first of all, the church would attract masculine men.
If you'll bench 300, get the fuck out of my church.
Right? All the men who left the church and said, well, forget that. I'm just going to go do work.
It's a church of
I'm going to
steel.
engage in business, and politics.
Get those
and I'm gonna
strong men
forget
tearing the
church.
phone books in
I
half
think you
at
would
youth
start
group.
attracting these men to the church. Right? Men are made to fight, and they're made to build, and they need a mission. Right? And the church has not laid out that blueprint, so men are lost. They don't know what to do with their strengths. The other thing that would happen is feminists would be driven out.
Yeah, fuck women. Right, Eric? We're back to it, huh?
Right? You bring real men into the church, the feminists would be driven out.
Fucking loser.
Number 2, it means that men need to deeply be inspired by their place in this epic battle for glory. That's what men want. That's why we watch Braveheart and we say, I want to fight. Right? I want to battle. I want brothers to war alongside.
Said it would drive the feminists out. Didn't explain why that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, he hates lesbian dykes. He hates
Yeah, you did say
sissified
that. That's
pastor.
right. Yeah. What do they say? Lumberjack dykes.
Yeah, oh my
Fucking
God.
terrible person.
So stupid. Now, here's a question. I've always found with any religious group in particular that harks on and on about the importance of penis fruits and fucking your wife and how important sex for God is. I truly think none of these hard men truly enjoy sex or love their wives.
They probably
It's
don't love
impossible.
love their wives. I would.
You can't love someone you loathe.
The enjoying sex part is difficult because there's definitely an argument to be made that some of these, when you tell people their whole lives, like, you can't have sex until you get married. Like, sex is a fantastic thing. It's an important part of a relationship with somebody, but you can't experience it until you get married. And then you go to school and you realize everyone around you is definitely having sex. And you wait and you hold off until you get married, like you're, told that you're supposed to. And then you jump the gun on getting married because you're like, I want to have sex. And then you're now in a relationship with somebody that you're supposed to be in love with because you wanted to get your dick wet, and you have to now deal with that. And you made a decision with the wrong head that you now have to stick with. If we're going to talk about, like, oh, this is how men were made. It's like, yeah, you have a young man with hormones going through these, these phases of life where the people are definitely hooking up and shit around you, but you think you're doing the good thing by waiting and then only picking one person to be with. And that's now you have a maternal bond to this person that if you go back on, then you're viewed negatively through the eyes of your family and your God and
purity culture.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
It is. But even taking it a step farther, let's say they are in a successful Christian marriage. They've been together 10 years, they have multiple kids.
So, they've been together for 10 years. They have 13 kids.
Yeah. There's no way as the type of hard men Eric is that he could truly enjoy sex. Or it's impossible. Because they don't truly respect the partner they're with. Now, I am all for casual, slutty sex. I'm totally good with all of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But if you don't have, like, it's not that you need it, but like a basic like sense of being equals or respect
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
other person
Yes.
it's not necessary for sex, but it has to inherently change the quality
Yes.
of the sex. Like over time, over a relationship, there's no way the idea of sex for dominion is more appealing to these losers than like the actual enjoyment of a shared sexual experience.
Yeah.
Like he has to think so little of it. I don't even know if he's married, but these guys in general, which if he's not would be a religious duty failed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's speaking as a hypocrite.
Yeah, but these guys in general, there's no way they can truly enjoy what sex could be when their whole idea of what their partner is and what a sexual experience is so limited.
Right. It's sad.
Sad.
It is. It's very sad. It's unfortunate.
Like it's like checking off something on a list opposed to like what can be one of the deepest shared experiences you can have with a person.
They are not at all equal.
No. And they don't.
But it's not about that because they need to make babies for God.
Yeah, that there's no want for equalness. They want to be superior. The whole concept of a women to him.
It's not even about the experience so much as it is about the outcome.
Yeah, the glory.
Yeah.
Like, definitionally, for Eric, the idea of a woman is based solely off the things they lack in comparison to men.
I mean, you even see it with, you definitely saw it more in older media, but you still see it in boomer shit where, the idea of a man who keeps him and his wife keep having kids, but it's all girls. He keeps getting girls. And then, oh, I just want a boy. I just want a boy. And it's like, it's one thing if it's like, oh, it'd be cool to raise a boy and give them the same childhood the childhood that I wanted when I was a boy kind of thing. That'd be one thing if like that's what they meant by that, but it's not. And it's that they want, a boy because they see them as more than.
Yeah, I can understand wanting it even to like a relatively high extent. Solely because you feel like you could have for some guys, it might be like an easier way to have like a closer shared experience.
Yeah.
But when it's like a thing where you're like, you need to have a male heir, there's something wrong happening.
So that they can spread more seed.
Yeah. They're so cum-centric. These
fucking cum brained.
Dude, just cum brain, cum beard. It's just it's so
a lifestyle.
Funny.
You gotta live it, you gotta love it.
Because men were made for battle. They're made to spar with their own men and then to ride out to war.
Ooh.
Men are made to bleed for each other and spill the enemy's blood.
They're made to get slain by other men. Fucking fodder for blood.
You see, there's an epic battle for Middle Earth that's being waged, and men need to be called to fight in it.
Bro, he just said a battle for Middle Earth.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, like a fucking Lord of the Rings fucking nerd.
But as it is, men are languishing and listless because they are hardwired for combat And yet they go to church, and all they find is a soft-tone book club. They're told to put on a sweater vest.
Here, Billy, wait, put on this sweater vest.
And to talk about their feelings. And then in the church, we say, well, why don't the men want to participate?
Dude, I bet in Eric's world, all men only can wear uncomfortable sweater vests and no pants.
Just burlap bags.
Because men were not hardwired for the church therapeutic. They were hardwired for the church militant. Men need to see that every time you tuck your toddler in and pray over them, it's because you're raising an army. Every time you go to work, it's part of a cosmic battle.
Cosmic battle.
Everything that you engage in on a daily basis is part of a bigger story.
He's talking about the Avengers.
And our men need this story. It's the sense of mission that's lacking. Now, third, it means that we need to recover the biblical language of dominion warfare. Right? The church was once referred to as the church militant. That's all the saints currently on earth who are fighting for the cause of Christ.
So
I feel like we should say something about the cosmic battle.
Yeah. He's definitely going on about some main character shit. He's on some protagonist shit of everything that you do is part of something bigger than you. And, that's some real narcissist way of looking at it. And I would be hypocritical if I said, sometimes I feel that, but it's mostly in jest and out of spite. It's not something that I take very seriously.
I always think it's like, as a general thing, the idea of going to work each day is you're doing part of your duty for a cosmic battle. I think if that is a great failure, like that is, I see that as a monumental weakness of character. Now, if the idea is each day truly can be like a battle to get through, or like your shift at work is your cosmic battle, I very much can identify with that like internal struggle or like strife to survive or whatever. But the idea that it is part of your duty to glorify God, and that you're this important character in this extraterrestrial play on God's behalf to save Middle Earth from the orcs. I see that as like, that is an incredible weakness of mind. Like
whether you're fighting the orcs in Middle Earth or the fucking aliens on Zordon 9, you're doing it for God.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's extremely sad.
Because it means you're also not doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
Work fucking sucks. It is kind of like a cosmic battle, and you have to get through it for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that is
whether it's just for
what
the things
is.
you need or it's the things that you want.
Yeah.
But it's for you so that you have food and shelter and, in whatever capacity you want or can attain. And then also, so you can buy that nice, I was trying to think of a thing that
sweater
he would hate.
vest.
Yeah, nice sweater vest. Yeah. That nice alpaca wool sweater vest.
Now,
So
I feel like
soft.
their argument would be that, that's our hedonism, that's our Satan, that we do it for ourselves. Then the argument a step further is, then you do it to glorify your wife. You do it to glorify your children. You do it to provide for the people you love, and that's what your idea of being a real man is, or whatever the fuck. Still think that's stupid.
You could still even make the point that you're doing it to glorify yourself, a warrior of God. You could go that route if you wanted to, but that's not.
One of the quotes I like, dumb AA quotes, I actually kind of like, because in part I think there's some metaphysical truth to it, and also it fucking destroys loser Christians, especially loser junkie Christians, is the quote that God will do nothing for you that you can't do for yourself. I think that's a meaningful line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
Work is the cosmic battle because God's not going to do it for you. You have to for yourself, for God, or whatever the fuck. Like, God's not going to give you the means to feed your family because that's something you're supposed to do for yourself. Like, I don't like.
I mean,
God
that
lines,
if,
but-
you know, when you start to accept that, and then you have to raise the question further, the fuck do we even need God for then? Why am I doing this for God?
You need His grace. You need His Spirit.
He's
right?
not feeding me or fucking me.
He's irrelevant.
He's irrelevant. That's right.
Such a good quote.
Fucking Sky Daddy.
They're laboring in the spiritual warfare to which Christ has called us. That's how we used to refer to the church. But today we refer to the church as the church therapeutic. At least that's what it should be called. Instead of the biblical language of warfare, you think of Ephesians 6 that Paul says, that's how we ought to think of the Christian life. Instead of what Paul told Timothy, be a good soldier, Timothy, fight the good fight.
I'd fight a whole herd of orcs just to get to Jesus' cup.
We don't talk like that in our churches anymore. No. Our churches are drowning in psychobabble and the speech of whiny therapists.
Psychobabble. Look at yourself.
God described himself in Exodus as a man of war.
Nice.
We're told throughout the pages of Scripture, it is constant warfare. And yet today our churches prefer relational language.
We need words of war again.
It's soft language. It's unoffensive. So here's what we need to do. We need to recover the biblical language of warfare and dominion. That's what men are hardwired for, and that's what they're going to respond to.
So fucking crazy.
It's pretty fucked up.
And fourth, we need to recover a doctrine of vocation that values men's work as a vital part of the dominion battle for the cosmos. For over a century, the American church has told men they are worldly and workaholic just for investing their time and energy in the realm of business and politics.
And just also notice he refers to men in the third person and not including himself.
We've rebuilt the wall between sacred and secular work, so that, for example, serving as a Sunday school teacher is somehow holy and important work, but running a successful painting business is just a dirty, secular, albeit necessary evil.
Are you familiar with just war theory?
Just war theory? No.
Mm-hmm. It's the idea of righteous violence, essentially.
Okay. That's what I assumed.
Yeah. Now, Eric makes a lot of arguments for men to be like little war boys for Christ.
Mm-hmm.
What's incredibly, God, I feel like I've said it like 8 times, incredibly frustrating is that Eric doesn't argue for just war. He argues just war for war's sake.
Mm-hmm.
The war he argues for are not for mankind. They're not for justice or God's glory. They are from mankind. And I feel like dudes like this just can't figure out the battles they are waging inside of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they fantasize about making battles outside of themselves.
That's
just externalizing like, we're men at war every day. It's so weak. It sounds so pathetic.
It's very poignant, and I think you're onto something with that. That seems quite accurate.
And even more, Eric does not understand the concept of dominion. So one of the scriptures that he has referred to in this episode is a verse or two that has fooled dumb men for thousands of years now. Okay, This Bible verse is as following. He read a different version of it from a different Bible. This is the King James Version. And God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all of earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." Genesis 1:26. Now, What's very funny about this to me is his misunderstanding of dominion. So dominion is the concept of supreme authority or sovereignty. In the Bible, dominion is defined as the power or right of governing and controlling. It is God's mandate to mankind to rule over the other creations, not for the exploitation, but for responsible stewardship. Now, I find the idea of responsible stewardship incredibly, deeply dumb.
Just let me do what I want with it.
But Eric doesn't.
If I want to kill all the
Creepeths.
Yeah, all the creepeths.
And the fowls.
The creepy
and
crawlies.
The then let my will be done. But Eric doesn't believe in this, right? He believes in dominion. But when he talks about dominion, his misunderstanding is that it is to dominate God's world.
It's about subjugation.
Yeah. And it's the ownership and control the same way he speaks of women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he always tries to do it in the name of God's glory. But when he talks about it, it's very clear that's not his goal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's never any emphasis on the responsible stewardship, which I feel like is just a blatant misunderstanding of what biblical dominion is supposed to be. Like if you talk to other Christians, when they speak about dominion, it is as foolish as it is about conquering, but with the goal of being the righteous masters on God's behalf.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get that from Eric. Do you?
No.
Like, I feel like that's not where his emphasis is. It's on, like, the power of it itself, opposed to the righteous ruling on God's behalf.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, he says these things. He throws God's will in there a lot, but that doesn't even mean to say that that's where his head's at. I think you're right in that it's more about the idea of, like, there being a war on, there being something to, feel like you need to be strong for that's external to yourself, rather than just being, your strongest self for the sake of being true to yourself.
He just sprinkles a little Jesus jizz wherever he can to cover up his own drippings. He must feel under threat at all times.
Yeah, well,
as silly as that is.
I think part of that line of thinking also is like it's a similar thought process to like I can't have power, or I can't have, the rights I want unless they're taken away from someone else. And like, I can't let someone else have success and power because then it's taking it away from me. But it's not mutually exclusive to have that. And I think it's one of those, like, it's me, it's us against them, me against everyone else thing, which is very anti, what Christianity should be.
He's just like a bully in priest robes.
Yeah.
I
with a gun.
Yeah, with a gun. On the other side of the coin, I've actually been running into that. God, I wish so badly I could have redone my debate with Pine Creek, because I'm so frustrated by it, because my respect for him has completely crumbled apart, where he still gives some of the best philosophy debates on religion, but he's just turned into a bully.
Yeah,
Or,
that
like,
sucks.
It does, because that's not
That's not what I came here for. That's not what that's logical fallacy shit of like when I
don't know about
want
that.
points, articulated points made by someone who has, whether it be facts or something important to offer to the conversation. It's not.
Yeah, I don't want him to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like if that's not, there are people I go to be assholes,
Right.
right? Like, I follow, I listen to him quite often. The owner of Kiwi Farms, Josh Knoll.
Oh, God.
And Kiwi Farms is like a website that follows celebrities and like internet people. And basically it's anonymous accounts that just dox people all day, every day.
Jesus.
And lots of death threats. They hate trans people. It's like garbage, deep internet shit, right? But the owner is like a trash person. His name's Noel. But as shitty as the website is, they've had like all kinds of both social and legal attacks over the years. And they've kind of become like a beacon for freedom of speech because they are not breaking any laws. Or like, like on any social media, someone might, but as long as the platform is handling it, they're not liable for individuals breaking laws. And he runs it very responsibly for as much of a piece of shit as he is. But it's become like a website that kind of stands for like one of the last like pieces of land out there, digital land, that is like full force, say whatever the fuck you want, as long as you're not violent, it's okay here. And I deeply disagree with a lot of his thinking, but I find him incredibly interesting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's a bully in a lot of ways, but I enjoy that from certain people. But I don't want that from people I respect.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You can find someone fascinating and entertaining without respecting them.
Yeah, or you can learn a lot of interesting, valuable, or like even ethical things from bad people. Like it's the art from the artist argument.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot to get from Eric.
Yeah, I do want to touch on something. You did say that he was a trash person, and I would like to say that we're calling him a trash person in the way that he is a person who is trash, rather than your sanitation workers or trash collecting enthusiasts.
That deserve the real glory.
Yeah, they are the true kings of our land, and they should be praised.
It's a base take.
Right, we need it to leverage money to pay bills and fund overseas mission work, but it's just viewed as a distraction. Right, we're denigrating men's work. Now, as it did during the Reformation, the church needs to recover a vibrant doctrine of vocation. We need to teach men that their work is a vital part of the Dominion mandate, not some secular second-place endeavor.
Like, what, painting houses?
Apparently.
Men especially need to see that the houses they paint in their local town, the buildings they erect in their community, the oil they change in their neighbors' cars, the classes they teach, all of this is a vital, godly, and necessary work.
What the fuck are we bothering painting these houses for?
Also, we are not our jobs. We are not our gender. We are not our jobs. Okay,
Yeah.
we can be a little bit more interesting than that.
And it's part of the Dominion-taking mandate. It's part of your warfare. Instead of castigating our men for being diligent and successful in the world, the underlying assumption is that only Bible studies and mission trips really matter. What we need to do is help men see their work as a vital part of the Dominion mandate. It's part of the larger battle for the cosmos.
He didn't even talk about his truck this episode. He's slipping.
We began with the question in this episode, what are men for? And I want to end here. Men are made to be warriors and workmen. They're made to fight, to build, and to create. They are the small business owners and the entrepreneurs. They're the culture builders and the city rulers. Men are made to be physically strong and morally competent.
Ooh.
Men are made for dominion.
What a pathetic way to inspire pathetic people.
He's really on some nerd shit. He's talking about the battles of the cosmos and Middle Earth and shit.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Hard Men Podcast. For more on the topic of masculinity and biblical sexuality, be sure to check out my website. Sign up for my newsletter at ericcon.com.
Nice.
That's ERICCONN.com. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. My handle on Twitter is all lowercase.
It's not his best episode.
Yeah, definitely not. That was pretty weak. He could have gone harder on his misogyny.
Until next time, men, stay frosty, fight the good fight, act like men.
Just in general, I mean, why not be like outright with it? Like Sharia law, like why not be like if I was a Christian, if I was a little boy that looked up to Father Eric Kahn's penis, I would want him to tell me to rape for God.
Yeah.
And to have my children slaughter the other nations. Like, why not go full force with it? Like true dominion for God.
Yeah, I mean the old school church did it, and they realized that they were losing some people on that, but if they just stood by their ground, maybe they would find themselves closer to God. Maybe they wouldn't have all these weak priests.
Where's the fire and brimstone? I feel like as much as he crucifies the sissified pastors, he's coming off incredibly soft right now.
I bet Eric Kahn wouldn't be. He's not man enough to be crucified himself.
No,
he would never accept
he's a
that.
Coward.
Yeah, he is.
I dare him.
I double dog dare him. He'll never do it.
No, it's not hard enough.
And I'm not talking about, tied up with rope for support and all that, we've read about, the people doing
that's gummy bear shit.
Yeah,
okay?
that's horse shit. That's for children.
We went hard like forgotten Easter candy,
Single nail through both of the feet type of shit. That's what I'm looking for.
Bro, I was watching some internet videos, okay? I saw someone get shot in the face today.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I thought to myself, wow, they're pretty soft, okay? I'm so hard. I just sort of blocked it, dude. There's no way I'm dying from a bullet. Are you kidding me? How pathetic.
It's a weak shit.
Yeah, you gotta be way harder than that. Like an armadillo.
Yeah. Just bounce that shit right off.
Fucking exoskeleton.
You try it. You can't shoot an armadillo. That shit bounce right off. Go ahead, try it.
Bro, I've never seen an armadillo get hit by a bullet.
Yeah, same. You'll never see an armadillo with a gunshot hole in it.
I have a hypothetical for you.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I heard a good animal battle the other day. 10 geese or a horse.
Ooh, 10
Death
geese
battle.
or a horse?
If you don't pick the horse, you're delusional.
Yeah, it's horse for sure.
I heard some fucking loser say 10 geese could take a horse.
No, there's no fucking way. I mean,
Comical.
The argument could be that a geese could fly away and save itself, and then that horse can't reach it.
Here's the next question. How far do you think the farthest chicken flight has ever been? Because I found the answer to be shocking.
Yeah, I think it's longer than expected, right?
It is.
It's
to me.
It's not. Is it miles?
No,
it's definitely not.
Think like when you see a chicken on a farm webcam you're watching.
Yeah, all those farm webcams I'm watching. You know how I do. You know how I get down.
When you see that chicken flop up for a second,
let's say
it goes like
are
2 feet.
we're talking distance, right?
Yeah, I need you to calibrate your chicken distance.
I'm going to say
expectations.
43 feet exactly.
I think that's short. Supposedly it's a football field, 100 yards.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's a pretty good flight
That's
for a chicken.
really good. Who was
That's
chasing that chicken?
You could write a movie.
What was it afraid of so much that it thought that it needed to fly that much?
Fucking horse.
Apparently. Goddamn God's worst creatures.
To be frank, I thought we'd have more material on Eric today, but honestly, this is disappointing to me.
Yeah, you know what, Eric? I'm sorry. I'm not leaving hard today.
No.
You kind of left me soft here, and I'm disappointed.
I felt the Viagra starting, and it has since dissipated.
You still need some kind of stimulation, you know? You still need some kind of, right? Like, it doesn't just, like, go straight to your dick and you're immediately hard. You need something to hold the attention.
It does.
Does
No.
it?
I mean, it acts on everyone differently, but most people, if you take a Viagra, your fucking blood vessels are fucking dilated. You have no control of your body to some extent.
I mean, that sounds pretty dope.
It is.
That sounds pretty cool, man.
Pretty cool. Dude, I've been seeing some crazy pictures at work. I saw another penis aspiration.
Oh, yeah?
Bro, they drained so much blood out of one side. It still didn't help. So then they had to do the other.
Oh.
It was like half a liter.
Jesus Christ.
I saw one dude with no feet today.
Oh,
Fucking
God.
infected amputation. I am surprised with the amount of body percentage people can live while missing. Like, infections. Like, you can be missing like 40% of your body from an infection and still be walking around.
Oh, you know,
Like,
it depends on what part of it you're missing.
Everything.
And
Like,
I don't know if you're going to be walking around.
they're like ate up like Swiss cheese. And,
Fucking
bro, it is gnarly. Sepsis is a motherfucker.
among the real heroes, the 40%ers.
The septic. Have you ever had a blood infection?
No. Luckily, I was real close. I had cellulitis from like a spider bite when I was younger.
Yeah.
And they said if I had waited much longer, it could have become septic.
That's just a doctor gassing you up.
Yeah, I was just saying you got here just in time, bud.
You're
did
pretty
good.
tough, buddy.
You fucking nailed it.
Dude, I love when doctors say dumb shit like that. Well, if you wait another day, you've been dead.
You've been dead. Thank God you got here today. I know you've been
You a
dealing with
fortune
this
teller?
for a week and a half, but
Tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow was the day.
Dunzo.
I'll tell God to call it off. You're here now.
If you didn't come into this doctor appointment tomorrow, I was going to assassinate you.
Yeah, I was gonna come to your house.
Fucking
shoot you in the
bedside
fucking back of the head.
I was going to angel mercy you tomorrow at noon. But I guess you made it in time.
I'll cross that off my calendar.
Bro, I have this, my primary care doctor won't give me more than 6 pills of a non-narcotic right now.
Why?
Because my background has so many dependencies listed, he won't trust me with an over-the-counter non-narcotic.
Wow.
That is unabusable. It's an unabusable drug, and he won't give me a normal
We can't have this kid abusing these antibiotics.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of an antibiotic that he won't give me like a normal amount. And I'm like so fucking pissed.
Like, I gotta come back here every goddamn week to get this refilled.
So stupid. Oh my God.
Little does he know, you're saving them up so that you can take 30 of them at once.
Yeah.
Get all the antibodies out at once. That's how you do it. A hard swoop. They tell you got to keep taking them for, a week or so, but they don't know shit. Fucking dumbass doctors.
You've never tripped until you've had kidney failure.
Yeah. Oh, god damn.
Yeah, dialysis does not look fun though.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
You figured it'd be refreshing. You know, like
when you hook up to like an oxygen mask or something,
yeah, like you're flushing
getting an
waste
IV
out.
drip.
You get new clean waste in. Why would it be so painful?
You know,
But apparently
leave all those sores and shit all over you.
Is that a thing from dialysis?
Yeah, wasn't that a thing we were looking at with like with the black market stuff of all the people that were like waiting for a kidney and they were on like all the dialysis machines for like years and they were like covered in all these sores and like abscesses and shit.
You're right. Yeah, just from their lines.
Pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I've been seeing some cool pictures lately though.
When are we going to start 3D printing kidneys? They're doing it with like hearts and shit, right? Or they're making like bio
parts. Bio like prosthetic shit. I don't know how many like full organs are going in that way.
I mean, a kidney's just like a filter, right? That's like most of what it does is like filters your blood.
Mm-hmm.
So
waste.
Yeah, your waste. So like, you know, get one of those, you know, like a
Folgers filter.
Yeah, or like when you clean out the dishwasher, you know, and there's that filter in the bottom that no one ever cleans out, and you pull it out and it's like covered in gross shit, and you just spray it off with some water and it's good as new. You just have one of those that I can just pull out, I can just slide out of my back. And then just, you know, rinse it under the sink a little bit and, you know, shake it off and then stick it right back in there.
That would be pretty cool.
Pretty sick.
1/3 of our lives is over. You ever think about that?
You know, I wasn't thinking about it until you said it. Now I can't stop thinking about it.
I like the idea that reminding people can cause like a slight like fluster of panic, like just knock the heart rate up.
You know, the worst part is, you know, we're in our 30s. That's generous.
That's the good years.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Well, that's generous, assuming that we make it to 90.
It's all downhill.
Yeah, there's less than we have less than 2/3 left.
You want to put some odds?
What you thinking?
Well, I've been a little bit of a betting man lately.
Mm-hmm.
My stocks, I'm up 22% this week. I'm killing it. Okay, Crypto's up.
My fucking Wall Street Steven over here.
My fucking I got Google, Microsoft, Apple.
The fucking raccoon of Wall Street.
Oh yeah, just squirreling away, right?
Digging in the trash.
I'm about to put $1,000 on Biden to win the election. Gonna double my money. Throw it on Dogecoin. See what happens. I think we should do a little death bet.
All right. So, like, what do they call that? Like, when a group of people are like, whoever dies last gets it.
Yeah. I have one with some friends from high school. And Beans better die first, okay?
Do you think any of them are actually going to be paying up?
Yeah, actually, I think all four of us will. It was $20. We got 4 people involved, and it was just based on who dies first. And I think everyone will pony up.
At the end, the best case scenario for you have 3 dead friends and $60.
What age do you think you're going to die?
You know, I feel like when I was younger, I could see myself into like 30, early 30s-ish. I could like foresee that happening. Everything after around like 45-ish is fuzzy to me.
Yeah.
I don't think that's when I'm going to die, but I mean, that's like a checkpoint. I think 30 was a checkpoint.
I hear you. I see you hitting 70.
That's probable. I
see myself as like a 57 type of guy. You know?
A 57 type of guy, and doctor tells you may need to be on dialysis, and you
They
say fuck
still
it, and
won't
you
give
go
me
home
drugs.
and off yourself.
Yeah, like, fuck
I
you,
ain't doing
doc.
that shit. I've seen that. And they're like, no, it's different now. We just give you a little tray that you can insert into your back and pull it out and rinse off in the dishwasher.
Dude, it is crazy how much better things keep getting with medical stuff, though. HIV is so much better now. It is insane how good these drugs are.
Yeah, I've just read something about that. It wasn't a detailed thing, but it's not that it's gone or that it's like curable, but it's preventable. Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's the HIV PrEP drugs that you take. I believe it's a prophylactic you take ahead of time. Like a lot of gay people take it if they're like dating or whatever.
Hitting up that grinder.
Yeah, it'll largely prevent infection. Largely. Not entirely. But then if you have HIV, the new drugs are so effective that you can get is it T cells?
No idea.
You can get your infection cells to, with like a hepatitis or whatever, it is curable. Didn't used to be, but the drugs are so effective you can like get your cell count or whatever the fuck down so low they will declare you not to have it anymore, which
Wow.
20 years ago wasn't a thing. With HIV, it essentially is like the same way, but because even if it's at like a minuscule level, HIV still has the tendency to be able to come back unmedicated. So they never declare you, my understanding is they never declare you HIV free, but with like as shitty as it is, the medications are still not the cheapest, but if you're able to be medicated, you essentially can live like a normal life expectancy without
dope.
complication. Yeah, it's like really effective. Same with you know how people complain about the price of insulin?
Yes.
Which is a problem. It genuinely is a problem. That said, Biden did just pass something about controlling insulin prices, as well as weed no longer being Schedule 1. Both those things are good. So insulin prices are going to get better. But there is a thing. If you buy, like, there's cheap insulin and then there's good insulin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the good insulin is very expensive. But if you don't have enough money or the right insurance, you can do a bunch of the very, very cheap insulin and it will not work nearly as effectively. Like, people like that don't understand complain all the time, like, why is insulin so expensive? People are dying. And that point of view is valid, but there is a misunderstanding about the tech change. Like, it's still the same drug, but the effective rates and like level of glucose control from top tier insulin today compared to 10, 20 years ago is it's almost an entirely different drug.
Huh.
That was new to me too. Because like if people lose their insurance, they'll do the cheap insulin and then they'll like have diabetic ketosis or whatever the fuck and not be able to control their shit because they don't have the good insulin.
Get that uncut, that raw,
Yeah.
unstepped on shit.
Did you see completely unrelated? Did you see the art sculpture portal?
No.
Okay, this.
Oh, wait, is this the thing in New York?
Yeah, in Ireland.
In Ireland, yeah, with your favorite people.
So good. This dumbass artist made it was just a sculpture of a portal that had like basically a webcam, so that, and then like the portal entry was a screen from the other webcam, so it felt like you're looking into a portal of the other city. And it was Ireland and New York. And it was like a live art installation. You could walk up to it and see people in the other country. And they didn't realize they needed to like guard it.
That's like number one. It's not about when someone's gonna do something shitty. It's
not if.
it's not if, it's when.
So there are a handful of like OnlyFans girls that would flash it and get publicity, that's based.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But also, you're like public nudity in front of children in another country.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus, yeah. God damn.
There's some sketchy legal issues with that. And then one dude from Ireland, he figured out if he just put his phone up to the web portal camera, it would fill the whole portal in New York, right? So people would run up with their phones and put it on the camera. So the entire portal screen in New York would just be what their cell phone was. And he ran up with a picture of the Twin Towers falling.
Oh, God.
And the crowd in New York is like screaming. There was all these talks of like lawsuits, and they had to get a security firm to like guard these portals. Yeah, it's so stupid.
Oh, fucking hell. I think in theory, I think the idea itself is kind of cool, but don't act like you didn't know this shit was going to happen.
The thing is,
you can't leave people alone with shit like that. It should be
in like a more secluded but public area, so people could do wild shit.
Like, hey, you're coming upon this portal installation thing. There may be nudity. There's people on the other side in another country. Who knows what they got going on over there? What's waiting for you behind the portal when you look through it?
And that's the wonder. I need to get hardcore into camming.
Do you remember when minutes were a thing?
That was terrible.
Some booming shit right here.
Yeah. We are booming it. Or sundowning. It's getting a little late. I feel my dementia clicking on.
Yeah, it's probably time for bed. Go take an Ativan and go to bed.
I would be fun with dementia. I don't know about you.
No, that's one of my biggest fears is degenerative brain shit.
You know, everyone says that, but if you have
if you haven't, you don't know you haven't.
Yeah, you're really just like an inconvenience. You're just like, who cares? It probably makes things pretty fun, fresh.
Everyone's just like taking care of you all the time, and you get to just watch TV and do whatever you want all day. It's pretty base. Pretty cool.
Just get pampered.
Yeah, you're wearing Pampers.
Oh man! Well, all right. I know we're gonna wrap. What are you gonna do tonight, or what do you got going on? I'm aimless. All I'm doing is I have A days and I have B days and I have C days, and it's just some combination of work 9 hours and then do lift, pod, or art, and I do 2 out of 3 every day. That's it. That's all I do. I'm in one room. I mean, my entire life.
You got it.
Smoking.
Arguably, you got more going on than me. My days lately, it just consist of working and driving, and
God, I hate driving.
And trying to make my place look less like a mess, and then going to sleep.
So I heard someone yesterday. Apparently, there is a real study that validates my thought that as you age, your perception of time increases. Apparently, that's a real study, which is incredibly validating because I found it after my Time Star manifesto. Okay, but the person was making the argument they felt that life was as exciting and the same pace as since they were a child because they had constant new experiences. And their friend was arguing that they felt time was slipping away because they had a very regimented, whatever, disciplined life. Yeah. And I think there's some truth to that. Like the influx of new experiences, I feel like legitimately could slow down time a bit.
Yeah.
I need new shit.
I feel like I get enough. It's maybe not
You have a lot of
bright new experiences,
stimulus.
but like I'm out and doing shit a lot. It's what, even if it's like similar places, there's always a new fire to put out. There's always a new something to.
Is it too much that it's blurring, or do you feel like things are at like a good pace?
Sometimes, yes. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of like, I can't remember if this thing that I'm thinking of happened, 2 days ago or if it was last week. There's definitely a lot of that because it was like, it feels like it was 2 days ago, but it could have been last week.
So if I was listening to my self-talk, like being your own best friend, like that dumb vibe, I feel like when I hear myself say some of these things, the thing that comes to my mind is like, yo, it sucks, but like you're doing what you need to do to like survive. And I feel like I can be pretty compassionate to myself in that sense where it's like, this does suck. Like I feel like I legitimately am like wasting my life, but it's also like no one else is going to take care of me. Like this is like what I need to do. I don't have to like it because it's probably not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah. No matter what work you do, it's always going to be work. There's always going to be something that you'd rather be doing, but you can't because you need to do work. Yeah. Even if you enjoy your work, it's going to become an inconvenience at some point.
I feel like with art, I feel like I feel like I'd be equally as unhappy, but I would be very fulfilled if I can like just figure out these last couple pieces of the puzzle. Like I feel like I'm getting closer, but I'm not happy with what I'm losing in the meantime.
Welcome to my constant state of being is I'm just about there, but I could be doing a little bit better.
We need our escape plan. We need our Freedom 45 operation.
We need the blue pill,
perhaps,
or the red pill. Which one? I forget which one's the one. I mean, we take them both, but what's
red pill is the truth pill.
Okay,
that unfortunately has been co-opted by men's advocates.
Oh, cool. Yeah, sick.
But old school internet, red pill was just truth pilled. Now it's not.
That's why we take the black pill. And
yeah, well, now black pill has a connotation too. That's for doomers.
Yeah.
Who are, but it's not just like doom, life is bad. It's also doom because women are bad and that men should just go their own way. MGTOW, okay?
Why can't we just...
It's so dumb, dude.
Why can't we just have
color
a thing
pillow's ruined.
that means...
Pink pill's cool.
What's that mean?
That's bimbofication.
Oh, okay. Hell yeah, dog. Let's fuck around and find out.
Yeah, I like pink pill. That's cool. But all the other pills suck now. Just take them all like Skittles.
Yeah, they used to call it farm parties.
Yeah, dude. Just put it all in a blender and see what happens.
Fuck around and find out.
Kidney failure.
Flash forward, yeah, full circle. We did.
Fuck you, Eric Kahn.
Yeah, eat shit, Eric Kahn. You fucking suck. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks. Did I send you? I did. You
did send it to me, but it was a very low quality. Now, I was having a debate on that with somebody about what was on top of the I don't know if I can say this without giving spoilers for the album, but what was on top of the cat, and is it mushrooms or is it a cathedral?
Mushrooms.
Okay, cool. That's fair. That makes sense. I kind of saw it and it kind of looked like a cathedral, and I thought, oh, this is like Steven's little insert on here.
Yeah, you could. If it was my own thing, I could have gone that way. But the album title is Beasts. I forget if it's Beast Shall Rust or Will. I think Will.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And it's all organic rust. But got the gold cat melting away as the fungi grow. It's hard to do iconic design. It was tricky, but I finally got a paint marker that fucking worked for an entire drawing. I think it's good to go. I'd say half the work is gonna be digital still, but I feel confident in what we got on this draft.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, his album sounded really cool.
Yeah, I seriously am considering that would be something I would like to get tattooed. That's a very cool design.
That'd be sick. I can't say it, but he got a professor approached him with a crazy offer. I'll tell you later. It's really cool. I'm super happy for him.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure to check out the show page at Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. Check out Facebook for the memes.
For the memes, if you're super bored, you can check out my trash shirt on Instagram at SkyZXSKYZSX. Super slow. Got something new, hopefully soon. And we got some pretty cool episodes on the way. Really appreciate whoever the fuck's been sharing our stuff lately. It's been super cool. And yeah, appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah.
Hope no one dies ever again.
Just got to make it 2 more weeks out.
Yeah,
give us till the Wednesday after next.
Just survive another week for us.
That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy,
go fast. Except Eric Kahn, he definitely can get it from the kidney failure.
Yeah. Fuck you, die slow, Eric Kahn.
Men were made for
Fucking-
families and children.